folks, and welcome to another edition of the Pilot Review Show. I am Captain Blade J52, and I am joined by my merry band of cohorts. We have with us everyone's favorite teacher of the Kirby variety.
Hello.
And directly off to my immediate right, my character's right, of course, we have everyone's favorite RP hologram, Artie.
Hello.
And joining us this evening, we also have a special guest host from the Temporal Armada, Admiral Ross.
Hey, everybody.
So, we've got some stuff to get through for you guys this week and everything, so let's go ahead and dive in, shall we?
We shall.
One of the biggest things that has been getting some scuttlebutt recently is 3D printed starships. This is coming back around finally, as we all kind of hoped that they would. This time, Star Trek Online is partnering with a new company known as Mixed Dimensions to create 3D handcrafted starship collectibles. And almost all of the over 500 playable ships in game will be available for print, including personal customizations such as ship names, colors, shield skins, and we'll even be able to print customizations using parts from the ship tailor. So, quite a bit of stuff here. You can see one of the models they have on a little stand. I believe these are resin made. You can pay to have just a basic version done, as you can see in the third photo here, and then paint it yourself, or you could pay to have them hand paint it. But thoughts from you guys?
I'm excited. I mean, come on, having your little ship model the modeled ship of what you fly in game. Can you imagine that you have your Odyssey right there next to your computer while you're flying your Odyssey, like you know how in every show, Star Trek, you're in the captain's ready room. They have their first starship on a pedestal as a model somewhere in their room. That's exactly it. I started with this little boat here. Now look at me.
Now see, Artie says little model, but if you read it, it actually says 12 inches. That's pretty sizable.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's not just that, they're also doing the colours as well, variants in gold as well, so you can actually get the gold variants like they have on the movies.
Nice. So it actually could be the modeled ships and whatnot. That's nice.
That's gonna be pretty good. But
now they did.
We don't have.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say they did say that they will have most of the ships available. There will be some that won't be available. Anything with any disconnected components, things that aren't connected, won't be available for printing. Anything else that I'm forgetting?
I think he did say something about the Herald, the Vomp. They did say that they wouldn't be doing that one.
Vomp and the Quas, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, as long as it
at least not at first, anyway.
Hey, as long as it has the Aquarius out there, I'm fine.
He would. But I would encourage everyone to check out the website and everything, so you can kind of see some of their work, all of that sort of stuff. I think it was actually maybe CBS that found the company for these guys. I'm not entirely sure as to all the
details, And
but
I'm just saying, I think this paves the way for actually being able to print up our characters. Hashtag printed Cornelicious.
Well, they did say that was something they were looking into.
No.
Yeah.
I hope so. But would be kind of cool to have a character model of my actual captain, and then a little model of the ship right behind him or something like that.
Just like the login screens.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
But definitely check out their website and everything. We don't have official prices as to what everything is going to be yet, and everything. We could speculate as to what it'll be, but from everything I'm seeing on their site, it looks like they're going to do good work.
But it did say something about mid-March.
Okay. So by then, hopefully we'll have some ideas as to what some of the prices could be. Okay. Yeah, like I say, from what I'm seeing here, it looks pretty detailed, pretty good. I think, depending on the price, this could do very, very well for them. But anyways, we will have this in the notes for you guys. I believe there is also, yep, you can also follow the Mixed Dimensions link in the blog itself and check out some of their stuff. But moving right along, we have the PC patch notes for the 22nd.
So the PC patch notes are actually pretty short this week. They've added the Domino console to the Allied Dogfighters console set. And they also added a 4-piece bonus to the set. And the 3-piece bonus from the Allied Dogfighters console set now also affects the cooldown of the Domino console. So those that have been waiting for that, it is now a 4-piece set. Nice. The Andorian wing cannons can now be equipped on any Andorian escort. And in the Foundry, the Lethian and Daewin escorts and the Lucari science ship show up correctly in the Foundry costume editor. They resolved an issue that could cause windows on the new T6 Andorian ships to sometimes float above the ships. Daewin and Lethian wing torpedo platforms now display the correct allegiance when targeted, and they resolved an issue that caused the Promise of Ferocity starship trait to display as Promise of Ferocity lockout in some places. That's not good. You don't want it to be locked out.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
I think it was just a display error from the way I'm reading that.
Yes, definitely. Just like the windows that float above the ships.
I could definitely see that being very
disorienting.
disorienting.
Yes, I can see that being disorienting as well.
But
You know, I will say, as I just noticed, there isn't a currently known section on this on this patch note, so I think there may be some bugs out there that someone may be. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think that means they know nothing.
I wasn't going to say that, but no, that who knows?
Just kidding, guys.
with as much stuff as I regularly break and you all regularly break and give to me, I'm convinced one of these days I'm going to wake up and one of them is going to try to murder me with a rusty spoon. This is for breaking this game and making me work all this overtime.
Hey, until
Kills on the way to your house right now.
Hey, until I see known issues, Artie and Kirby did it. I can't say anything.
Yeah. Like I say, not really a lot to these, but we will have this in the notes all the same, so you guys can see the bits that were changed, whatnot. But moving on, we have the Foundry Spotlight for In the Shadow of Midas.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm pretty big on the Foundry. I mean, I've created quite a lot of Foundry missions, but, you know, having a look at this one, you know, I'm really interested in playing this. I've not played it just yet, but looking at it, it looks really, really good. I mean, it seems to be quite a big set. They've not done part 3 yet, but from what I'm seeing, it looks like they're just doing part 1 at the moment, the Shadow of the Midas. So it's a deep space communication array. It's responsible for sending messages to Voyager, and what it's basically around is you're going to go there and literally go through where they sent 2 starships through, and they've not returned. So basically, the story is that you're going to go there and investigate it. It looks really good.
I have to say that sounds very exciting.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's done by a guy called Green Dragoon, sorry. So it's, as I said, it's only part 1 at the moment. So looking forward to playing that and giving you guys a bit more of an update on that one. I'm going to be playing it a little later on. So hopefully by next week I'll be able to do a show with you guys and go through that one with you.
Oh yeah.
Sounds pretty cool. I'll have to definitely check this one out myself, because I did rather enjoy the thought of them having a wormhole generator of sorts.
Well, that's it. I mean, if you guys want to go through it, give it a go, because all you have to do is just go to your mission map and go to the Spotlight section in the Foundry tab and just give that a go in your mission journal. I'd recommend giving these foundries a lot of time and play, because a lot of the stuff, the content and everything that people are playing on there is really good. As I said, I've made quite a few contents. Some of mine are pretty big. A lot of players have played a lot of mine. I've got a lot of feedback by doing some of my missions. One of them, everyone knows about Admiral Bobo, so hopefully a lot of people like that one.
Good old Admiral Bobo Goes to War, still a classic.
Yeah, there will be an update to that. Don't worry, guys. We will be creating another one.
All of my yes. But definitely check this Foundry mission out, guys. Whatnot. We'll have the link in this in the description for this blog, so you can check it out. Whatnot. But anyways, moving along, we have the Aquarium Project for the console players.
Yes. For the console players, you now get Project 8, Colony Beautification Aquarium. Now, in one of the sections in your colony world, now you will have one of the windows replaced with a little rocky area and a bunch of fish. Looks very nice, very detailed. In the article, you can see a side-by-side of what the area would look like before and after. And just as a notice, for the special unlocks and whatnot, each unlock will be available for approximately 2 weeks. So, do your best with getting it all set up and save up on that deal for it.
And it should be noted that you only have to have the project slotted in order to be able to do it. So even if it's the next project queued up to go and take effect, even if it doesn't take effect until long after the 2 weeks is done, you will still be able to complete it as long as it was already queued prior.
Right.
I know that's a question that we do get quite often, and just wanted to touch base on that. But anyway.
Yeah, that's it for that one.
Yeah, check that out if you're somebody that enjoys these special projects and whatnot. Definitely check it out. And I think I had had this article pulled up twice, but
yeah, we've already got it on our Tribble server, on our fleet colony up there, so we've already got it, and it looks absolutely fantastic.
Sweet. But moving along, we have the Arena of Peck returns, which I believe this one is mine. And from February the 22nd until February the 26th on console, all of you players will be able to go back into the Arena of Peck. This is the ground gauntlet type of event that comes around every so often. Captains level 50 through 60 are able to queue for this. There's actually two versions of it. There's a timed version, which goes to around, I think it's 15 minutes is what the timed version caps out at. And then there's an untimed version that allows you to go until you get bored of it and decide you want to kill your tune, or until you guys get legitimately defeated, whatever happens first. But the reward for this go-around for the Arena of Peck is the Peck Blast Assault Weapon.
Ooh.
Each day, you will get a voucher by completing your Arena of Peck. You only need 3 of the weekend vouchers to get this particular weapon. It's, as this weapon is equipped with a similarly small capacitor, it's a companion to the Peck Pulse Wave. It enables the user to periodically draw power from it to produce a regenerative burst to heal the user, which actually sounds pretty interesting. You could see a table of rewards here, so they kind of break it up so you can see a little bit of what you'll get in terms of marks. If you don't get past the 3rd round, you get nothing. If you make it through rounds 4 to 6, you get 13, all the way up to 56 plus rounds, which will be 163 marks. Similarly with dilithium, if you don't make it past round 3, you get nothing. If you make it to between rounds 98 to 111, you will get 5,700 dilithium. And then the max reward for R&D crafting materials at 91 plus rounds is 1 normal and 6 elite materials. So definitely worth taking a shot at it.
I wonder what the max is going to be.
That's a good question. The other thing to remember, it doesn't mention it in the blog, is that once you get to round 21, you get the special emote Victory of Peck, which... Give me 1 second.
Yeah, let's get a visual in game.
Darkblade.
Me.
Yes, let's get a visual. So the Victory of Peck, if you have not seen it, is this. This was in honor of Ambassador Kale, who was in the middle of the arena of Peck the first time it started, was doing the snake dance, and was blasted from above by Peck lightning, and subsequently died. So this was a birthday gift to him from the devs, and quite a funny little dance. I love doing it every once in a while.
Henceforth, we refer to it as the
Kale
Ambassador
dance.
Kale.
Yep.
But, yep, it's definitely a fun little thing. They, like Kirby said, they didn't mention it in the blog. I am glad that she brought it up here,
Yes.
because it is something people would probably miss otherwise. At least I know I would.
Mhm.
But yeah. So, anyways, we will have this in the link, or in the notes for you guys, that you can check out this link and kind of get an idea of the different reward tiers and be planning ahead. Also, the one thing that they don't tell you, as far as, or actually I think they may do tell this, but trying to find it here. Okay, apparently they didn't tell that, but the weapon that you get will actually be an account-wide unlock. So once you complete the event on one character, you will be able to claim it on all of your others. So get yourself a nice ground weapon, if nothing else.
Definitely.
But moving along, we have the featured episode replay for consoles.
Yes, so consoles, there are 4 episode arcs that give special rewards that are only available during an episode replay. Consoles episode replay is from February 22nd until March 8th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And so, by completing the Spectres arc, you get the special reward, the Ophidian Cane. Spectres arc includes Skirmish, Spin the Wheel, What Lies Beneath, Everything Old is New, and Night of the Comet. By completing the Cloaked Intentions arc, or the Romulan Star Empire arc, you earn the Riemann Science Bridge Officer. And the episodes in this series are The Vault, Mine Enemy, Frozen, Colosseum, Cutting the Cord, and Darkness Before the Dawn. The 2800 arc, or the Dominion arc, you get the Shard of Possibilities. This is a very cool one. You activate it and you get 2 replicas of yourself, quantum replicas, that go and attack things. The episodes in this series are Second Wave of Bajor, Operation Gamma, Facility 4028, and Boldly They Rode. And then we have the Cold War arc, or the Breen, and for that you get the Breen Tactical Bridge Officer. And episodes in that series are Cold Call, Out in the Cold, Cold Comfort, Cold Case, and Cold Storage. So this is a great opportunity to earn the limited time unique rewards for your characters that have not had a chance to get them. They are character unlocks. So if you want these items, you're going to have to do it on every character you want them on. Thoughts, comments?
Personally, I always find having these little, redo events very great, because a lot of times you'll hear someone going, "Oh, why did they get to use the Ophidian Cane and I don't have the Ophidian Cane?" This is but this is crap. I don't know. Always, grumbling about it. Well, now you can get that Ophidian Cane, so you don't have to worry about it.
Well,
Exactly.
I personally think the Shard of Possibilities is a better one, for especially if you're doing ground combat. It's always handy to have the before and after variants of your character, because that's basically what they are. One of them knows what's coming, and one of them's like, it's in your past. It's a bit like the Temporal time ship, the Wells class, where you got the console for that. So it's a variance of that.
I actually like to combo the both of them together, get the Shard of Possibilities and the Ophidian Cane, and then which one is it from the ground? The Temporal Flux device.
Yes.
And
Did you know?
can definitely...
Yeah,
go
did
ahead.
you know if you use the Ophidian Cane in the Trilogic pattern enhancer, it actually summons a Devidan?
It has a chance to, yes.
Yeah, that's...
It also has a
definitely-
chance.
Go
I've
ahead.
seen it summon, like when somebody did it on a KDF captain, it summoned a 23rd century Starfleet captain. And I've seen it done the reverse, where you do it on a Starfleet captain, and it has the chance of summoning a 23rd century KDF, who then of course attacks you, right? As the Davidian does as well.
It's just a nice bit of fun every now and again. I like doing it.
Yep. Definitely check this out, console players. These are some pretty interesting things. I know these bridge officers, especially that Breen, in my personal opinion, is very nasty on ground to have in your crew. But
Yeah, I've got the Breen on my Federation character. It's a lot of fun. And there's also the... I've also got quite a few of the other ones as well. They're always great to have.
indeed. But this will be going for a limited time, so definitely get this down while you can, guys. I know I need to actually catch up and do that myself, but anyways, you have until March the 8th to actually pick these up. Trust us on this, guys. You're definitely gonna get some pretty good bang for your buck here when it comes to these things. But anyways, that's the articles we have for this evening. Now coming up on our budget build for the evening, we have a mid-range Star Cruiser build, and
Admiral Ross's
some of
favorite.
yes. Some of his crew may or may not have thrown him under the bus with this budget build and everything, but all the same, it is a ship that people do have available to them. I believe this is one of the alternatives to the Free Sovereign that you can pick up. I think it's this, the Sovereign, and then isn't it a Defiant, or is it a Prometheus that you can get for that tier?
Sao
I
Paulo.
think it's a Defiant. Yeah. Anyway, I'd have to look before I could remember off the top of my head. But anyway, all the same, for this particular build, it is a slightly modified set of conditions for a mid-range build than normal. Normally, for a mid-range builds, we assume a maximum EC limit of 30 million energy credits. For this particular build today, that has been lowered to 25 million. And we also assume that there is enough dilithium to take a single item to epic quality, doesn't matter which item it is, and everything else must be as cheap as possible or free. For this particular ship, we have a 4-4 weapons layout, and in this case we based it in disruptor damage. Now for this particular ship, we have on the front of it here 3 of the plasma disruptor beams. It's a disruptor beam based, well, it's basically a hybrid between plasma and disruptor, based in disruptor damage. So you have the ability to proc either one. This is from the Past Imperfect mission, if you're a Federation character. And then up front, we have our one item that we've taken to Epic, which is our Nausicaan Disruptor Beam Array. This comes from, I think it's Echoes of Light, isn't that the mission this comes from? I believe. Brain fart. but yes, Echoes of Light, I believe. So I get it, and of Silence Importance confused sometimes. So yeah, that's what we have for our forward weapons. Now the Nausicaan Beam and some of these items do come with 2 set bonuses that we're going to look at in just a minute in game. But for our rear weapons, we have 2 more of our Disruptor Plasmas. We also have our Resonant Disruptor Beam Array. And then we also have our Martok Omni Beam. Now, I know the picture is goofed up on the builder here. For some reason, it glitches out whenever I try to add the mods to it. And I can still see it's there, but it just doesn't show the icon for some reason.
And yes, Echoes of Light is where you get the Nausicaan array.
Okay, good. Like I say, I get those confused a lot. Now, the user did request that we do a tank build for this particular ship. And as such, we've loaded it up with the Soul Defense set, which is a very great set if you're looking to tank. And the reasons for the Soul Defense set in this case is because of some of the buffs that you get for having the set. Now, the set itself gives some all-around good damage negation potential. It also has a nice heal to it as the 3-set bonus. Now, just by having 2 of the pieces on the ship itself, you get the free equivalent, actually slightly a little bit more than the free equivalent of a Neutronium alloy armor worth of resistance. It's 25 all energy damage resistance, and then I think it's 35 physical and kinetic, if I'm remembering all of the numbers exactly right off the top of my head. But so that's a free armor worth of resistance without actually having to slot an armor console. So you could free that console slot up for something else. Then, for the 3-set bonus of our Soul Defense set, you get a nice AoE heal that affects you and any allies close to you. And I have seen in a lot of cases, especially with some of the smaller ships, like an escort or something, this bring a ship from almost dead to completely back to full health. So it definitely has its uses. Then, for this particular set, it does not come with a warp core, so we have to source one out. And for this particular go-around, we have what is a staple warp core for us here now, finally. This is the Temporal Phase Overcharged Warp Core. You guys have probably heard me harp on this one quite a bit. If you were here for the Delta Recruitment event a few years ago, you're probably familiar with a little device known as the Temporal Negotiator. And the Temporal Negotiator would cut your bridge officer cooldowns in half while it was active. This essentially does the same thing, except in the form of a warp core capacitor. So you can use this for cooldown reduction in a pinch, or whenever you need it. Now, since we just got done with the anniversary event, probably a lot of you have your Bajoran interceptors. And if you guys wanted to, if you don't want to go for the overcharged core, you could use your Bajoran warp core as a viable alternative here, and do fairly well with it, I might add. But that's what we have as far as the weapons, the shields, and the engines go. For this particular ship, you get 4 device slots. We usually like to think of them as personal preference, as there is no right or wrong answers to what devices you can slot. However, one that we will recommend is, in part because you're probably going to pick it up if you play the story missions all the way through at least once, and that is the Subspace Field Modulator. This gives essentially a free neutronium worth of resistance while it is active, and is a nice little thing to have. Now, it does debuff you for a minus 400 protonic damage resistance rating, so depending on who you are fighting in game, or what you're fighting, it could be a double-edged sword. There's not that many enemies that use protonic damage in the game, but there's enough of them that it warrants making a note of. Then there's other devices we could get into, such as some of the craftable batteries.
Armor Catalyst, Deuterium Surplus.
Armor Catalyst, Deuterium Surplus, Jevonite Hardpoints, if those are still a thing. So you've got some options. But anyways, that's just one in particular we'll recommend. Now, as far as the consoles on the ship go, you have 4 engineering, 3 science, and 2 tactical consoles for this build. And for the engineering consoles here, we went with the Trillium deplating from the Ragnarok mission. Now the Trillium deplating is basically a field generator science console that increases maximum shield capacity and a neutronium armor slammed into one console. So you'll get a nice little chunk of damage resistance rating and about 15% roughly percentage increase to your shields, enabling you to take greater hits to your shields and giving free HP. So always nice to have. Then we have the assimilated module from the Omega Reputation. This gives a nice little chunk of critical hit chance and critical severity, which is always nice to have. And that's one of the main reasons we're going to be using it here. The next console we have is the House Martok Defense console. This comes from the Brushfire mission, as does our Omni Beam. Now this particular console is basically a RCS console and a field generator slammed into one thing. So this will give you some turn and also help you out with your shields and stuff. So it's a case of this versus a standard RCS console or something of why have one benefit when you can have two or more. And plus it's free. Then we have our 0-point energy conduit. Now the 0-point conduit here gives a nice little bit of critical hit chance. It also gives a little bit of drain expertise, which for those of you out there that have your Bajoran warp core and want to use that, you can use this to boost the drain on your Bajoran warp core. So definitely good there. But and Kirby, can you get Orange a link to the stream?
Just a moment.
Yep. But as far as engineering consoles go, that's what we have. For our science consoles, and we'll take a look at some of these two sets and explain why we have them in just a moment. Now for our Nausicaan Siphon Capacitor, this is a very nice console to get. This goes along with the two set with our beam. It will basically give a nice chunk of disruptor damage boost, so this is essentially of sorts a third tactical console's worth of damage increase for disruptors. Then we also have our Temporal Disentanglement Suite. Gives a nice critical chance boost based on our auxiliary power, and it also can give a nice little buff to our shields, enabling us to take stronger hits. Then we have our Bioneural Gel Pack. This particular console, it gives some very nice buffs, but the main thing that it gives here is a 7% cooldown reduction to bridge officer powers, which is very, very nice. For our tactical consoles, we have one standard disruptor induction coil that we pick up from the Echoes of Light mission. And then for our last console, we have the Harmonic Resonance Relay, which is a nice disruptor console that pairs with our resonant beam. And it also gives a bit of armor pen to our weapons. Now, we're going to take a quick look at the two sets and explain why we chose to utilize some of them. So you guys can see, pull this up here. And y'all could probably see I'm a pack rat when it comes to my inventory, but you can see this is an example of what it'll look like at Epic, but we'll use it to pull up and look at our set bonuses here. Now, as far as the set bonus for the Resonant, you get a little bit of a weapons power setting boost. It's 3.6. And then the Resonance Disruption Wave increases energy damage dealt to shields by 15%. So when you pair that with the beam and the Resonance Disruption that it gives, it's physical damage that you're going to be doing to their shields, and it's a 100% shield bypass. So not only by having this beam, if it procs the Resonance Disruption Wave, you're going to be doing shield bypassing damage. You also have the chance to pop the standard disruptor proc on them, which is the -10 all resistance. But on top of that, you also have the chance to increase the damage that their shields are going to take. So you've got quite a bit of debuff that you're going to be throwing out just by having this beam and having this console on the ship. And that's not taking into account the armor pen that's already there. Now this is our Nausicaan Siphon capacitor here. It gives a bit of drain expertise, some power transfer rate, and disruptor damage, illustrating what I was talking about before. But let's go ahead and pull this up, look look at our set bonuses really quickly. Now, if you wanted to, depending on the ship, you could utilize the 3-set bonus and pick up the energy torpedo as well. But for the 2-set bonus, since that's what we're using, it gives the Disruptor Net ability. Disruptor Net gains 448.4 disruptor damage every 1 second for 5 seconds, in addition to its normal effect. So this can buff the damage, and you can see real quickly it's a 26.6% disruptor damage boost and plus 50 hull pin for your starship weapons if you utilize the 3-set. So if you find a way to squeak a torpedo onto something, then the energy torpedo, that is, you could draw from that. But, let's see, there's a resonant beam. But, oh, actually, the Nuskin beam, that's what I'm looking for. Wrong beam, there we go. The Disruptor Net, you have a chance to proc it. It's a hold effect that deals so much disruptor damage per second for 5 seconds to the enemy. So in this case, taking into account the augmentation bonus, this would be a little over 830 damage per second. So it's not the greatest ever, but it's still damage that you're going to be dealing to the enemy. Then for our Martok set, we'll take a quick look at, actually I'll mouse over the console. You can see here you get flight turn rate and maximum hit points and maximum shield capacity, so it's a boost overall to that stuff. Take a quick look at our 2-set. Now the 2-set bonus isn't the most impressive ever, but it's still a bonus that you're going to be getting and worth making a note of. In this case, you get a 2.5% critical chance boost and a plus 15 accuracy rating. That accuracy rating is good because that's going to help us offset some of the firing mode accuracy penalties to things like FAW, scatter volley, and any other similar type of effects. But anyways, that's what we have as far as equipment on the ship goes. Let's take a quick look at our skills. As far as our skills go, it's pretty much the standard build you see us use a lot. This build can be adapted pretty well for tanking or for DPS, depending. For our lieutenant skills, we have 2 points into improved hull and shield capacity each. That's a free HP increase to our shields and our hull, which is going to be very helpful. We also have a point into shield restoration and hull restoration each. That's going to increase the base healing amount by 25% of all of our heals, which is very nice. Then we have energy weapon training. We have maxed that out with 3 points for free energy weapon damage. Then we have improved EPS flow, which is going to allow us to regenerate our power more quickly and transfer it between systems more quickly. 1 point in impulse expertise, so we can turn the ship a bit quicker, maybe redirect a stronger shield facing towards the enemy. Then we also have improved control expertise and drain expertise. Whatnot. The control expertise you could perhaps use for different effects, such as holds and things like a gravity well, when you eventually get a hold of something like that, or a similar effect. Drain expertise can pair very well with a Bajoran warp core here, and everything, or any other effect, such as perhaps maybe even a Tychon's Rift, or a engineering-based effect. Then we've maxed out all 3 points into targeting expertise. This is going to decrease that firing mode penalty to FAW and the accuracy penalty even further. Then we have advanced defensive maneuvering. This is going to make our ship harder to hit, which is always a good thing when tanking. Then we've taken all 3 points into our various hull platings. This is going to give a fairly huge chunk of damage resistance just by having these 3 points slotted. It's close to a neutronium worth of resistance just by having all of these. We have 3 points into advanced shield hardness. This is going to be a 20% damage reduction to our shields. Then we've maxed out weapon amplification and specialization. This is free critical hit chance and free severity, which in turn can translate to greater damage and greater threat generation potential. Then we have a point into defensive and offensive subsystem tuning. This is going to grant a little bit of power bonus to each of the subsystems. If you wanted to, you could specialize further into each one. Then we have a couple of points in our exotic particle gens, and also 3 points into our long-range target sensors. This is going to decrease the weapon drop-off penalty for our weapons the farther we are from the target. Then you have your choice of hull penetration or shield penetration skill. There is no right or wrong answer here. As long as you have at least one of them, you're doing good, and arguments can be made for both. Since we're using Disruptor this go-around, we went with the hull pen to further take advantage of the hull pen already present with Disruptors, and already present on some of the weapons. Then we have a point in Warp Core Potential, again for free power to all subsystems, which will stack with our previous bonuses, and Warp Core Efficiency. Warp Core Efficiency will give us a power bonus to any of the subsystems whenever they get low enough in power. So that's what we have for our skills. Now for our specializations, we went with Pilot Primary and Strategist Secondary. Pilot is going to give us a lot of ability to move the ship, as well as some nice damage immunities and things of that nature. Strategist will give us some different buffs depending on whether or not we are in threatening stance, but most likely we will always be in threatening stance as a tank, so you can count on some nice damage reducers as well as some temporary hit points and stuff. But that's what we have for our specializations. Now let's take a look at if I can... They've added some new tabs and stuff on me to the builder, so it gets a little confusing sometimes. Now, since this is a mid-range build, this is where we concentrated most of our energy credits into. Now, for our personal space traits, we have Accurate to further decrease that accuracy penalty from thaw. Then we have the Beam Barrage trait from the R&D Crafting School. We like to assume that you've leveled at least one of the crafting schools as you're bringing the character up. And in this case, we assume that you've chosen beams. Then we also have beam training for free beam damage. This is one of the traits that everybody has access to. Then we have elusive to make our ship harder to hit by giving us free defensive value. Then we have the Grace Under Fire trait, which is the career-specific trait for engineers. If you are not an engineer but you still want to use the build, then simply swap in your own career-specific trait and you're good to go. Then we have Fleet Coordinator for free damage based on how many people are in your party, including yourself. This can be as little as a 2% boost to as high as a 10% boost. Then we have our Ablative Shell, which is one of our money traits that we picked up. Whenever certain conditions are met, you pop a damage resistance and a heal over time effect on yourself through this particular trait. Then we also have the... pull it up here. We also have the Biotech Patch. It improves the effectiveness of all hull healing abilities. I believe it is a 25% boost that you get. Then for your pattern recognition, this is the final money trait that we picked up. While in combat, your ability to defend against enemy starships will gradually improve, represented by an increase in defense and shield hardness can be stacked up to 4 times. This is a 1.5% boost from each stack, so you're looking at total around a 6% boost, which is definitely nothing to sneeze at. For our starship traits, we were able to pick up 4 traits this go around. We have our improved pedal to the metal, which is a stacking damage boost as long as we're at full throttle. It comes from our pilot. Then we also have our unconventional tactics. Activating Brace for Impact increases our damage for a short time. Then we also have the best defense from the House Peg mission. It grants a hull healing buff to our attack patterns along with their normal effects. Then, finally, we also have the Honored Dead trait, which is a very nice thing to have, especially as a Federation character, since we can get it a lot cheaper than the KDF. No offense to KDF players out there. But what is so special about this one is any time or any damage received during combat will be added to the defensive capabilities of your vessel, resulting in stacking benefits to damage resistance and passive hull regen as certain damage thresholds are met or exceeded. Once you reach maximum stacks of this, additional damage will instead grant a small amount of temporary hit points at each threshold. Now this on its own was already nerfed once before, but just by having this active on the ship, this is worth a 10% increase to defensive value to the ship, and a 10% overall damage reduction. So it is possible to have, in my case, around a 70%, 60 to 70% damage resistance just by having this trait and everything else. Then, for our space reputations, we have the Advanced Targeting Systems, which gives us free severity by having it slotted. Then we have our Auxiliary Power Configuration Offense, which gives a bit of a accuracy boost and damage boost, depending on aux power level. Then we have the Precision, which gives a free bit of critical hit chance while in space combat. Finally, we have the Chronocapacitor Array, which reduces bridge officer recharge times by 7.5%, I believe it is. So you're getting around a 14% decrease in cooldowns by comboing this and the gel pack. For your active reputations, we have the Anti-Time Entanglement Singularity. This is an AoE slow and physical damage attack to the enemies, and very potent, even by today's standards still. Then we have Biomolecular Shield Generator. This creates a fixed position generator in combat, and this is the little green ball you see a lot of people using in ISA and other maps, and it regenerates the shields a bit more, as well as reducing damage taken to the shields while you're in this effect. Then we have our Quantum Singularity Manipulation. This is a plus 100 boost to all science stats for the duration it's active, as well as a temporary cloaking effect. You can still fire weapons and everything as normal. Now, a combination that we like to do is to throw any exotic buffs that we may have first, follow up with Quantum Singularity Manipulation, throw out something such as perhaps a Gravity Well, and then follow up with our Anti-Time Entanglement Singularity, and in doing so you will get a lot more bang for your buck. For our final active reputation power, we have the Deploy Sensor Interference Platform, and this poofs up a little platform in space that will taunt enemies toward itself, and it will last until the platform is destroyed, or until the time runs out, whatever happens first. Now, this is a good, oh crap, I'm going to die button, because you can hit this and hopefully duck back in time to get a heal off, or to just take some pressure off of you, or perhaps even a teammate for a little bit of time. But that's what we have as far as our traits go and everything. Now, we're going to look at our bridge officers quickly. For this particular ship, you have a Lieutenant Tactical, a Commander Engineering, Lieutenant Commander Engineering, Lieutenant Science, and Ensign Science. So it is one of the few ships in the game that does not feature a universal seat. But for our Lieutenant Tactical, we went with a Beamfire at Will 1 and an Attack Pattern Beta 1. This is going to allow us to attack most anything in range with our beams, as well as applying a debuff to them. Then for our Commander Engineering seat, we have Engineering Team 1. This is going to restore a bit of hull, as well as purge certain debuffs like the Viral Matrix. Then we have Reverse Shield Polarity, which is going to allow us to recharge our shields based off of incoming damage. Very nice thing to have to recharge shields in a pinch. Then we have our Emergency Power to Weapons 3. This is going to be a weapon damage boost, as well as giving weapon power for the duration. Then we also have the Emit Unstable Warp Bubble 3. It actually says rank 1 in the builder, but that's a bug they have yet to fix. The Emit Unstable Warp Bubble has a range of 4 kilometers, and there is no hard upper limit that we have observed yet to this. But this particular power, whenever you use it, essentially cuts the damage of the enemies in half, as well as severely debuffing their turn rate and so on. So if, theoretically, you were fighting a group of 20 foes, and you applied this to all of them, you're now essentially fighting 10 of them for the duration, and it will stack with other effects such as suppression barrage from the command tree. Then for our Lieutenant Commander Engineering, this is where the bread and butter of the build starts to come together. Now our first power here is emergency power to shields. Gives a nice damage reduction to our shields as well as shield power. Now we have Aux to Bat 1 and Aux to Bat 2 in this case. Now there is another thing to Aux to Bat that involves the duty officers, and we will look at the duty officers in just a moment. But the auxiliary to battery, whenever you activate this power, it shifts all but 5 of your power from your auxiliary system and dumps that into your shields, your engines, and your weapons. And we have 2 copies of this. But for our Lieutenant Science, we have Science Team 1. This is going to purge certain debuffs like subnucleonic-based effects, as well as restore some of our shields. We have Transfer Shield Strength, which is a heal over time effect to the shields. And then finally, the Hazard Emitters 1. This is going to purge things like the Borg Plasma Fire, as well as apply a heal over time to the ship itself. Now, we don't ordinarily do much with duty officers on the show here because we don't like to assume what people might have. But in this case, it's actually very critical to the build, and that is the technicians that are behind the aux to battery. Now you could use the auxiliary to battery on its own and get a bit of extra power for the ship, but the real strength in aux to bat builds comes from the technician duty officers that you're going to use. In this case we have 3 rare technicians, these are the blue qualities, that have a chance to reduce recharge time for all bridge officer powers whenever auxiliary to battery is used. So real strength to aux to... Go ahead.
I want to correct you there. They don't have a chance. They do. It's a
So
guarantee.
it's guaranteed,
yeah.
okay. Okay, so anyways, it is guaranteed that you're going to have a good chunk of bridge officer cooldown reduction. This is the strength to aux to battery builds. Now some builds may only run 1 copy. You can run 1 copy, you can run 2 copies and everything. You're going to get a little bit more out of it if you run 2. In this case, since we don't have that many tactical powers, we want to make sure that they're up as much as we can, as well as certain things like emergency power to weapons and so on. And by comboing this together with our chronocapacitor and our bioneural gel pack, I can spit the words out, you're going to get a lot more bridge officer cooldown than what you might think. This is going to allow you to use a lot more powers, more often, and stay in the fight a heck of a lot longer.
Yep.
And can also translate to threat generation too for a tank. So very, very good.
What aux to bat generally does, when you hit that aux to bat, it, depending on the level of duty officer, of course, in this case we have blues, paired with the other bridge officer reduction things that we have, that will lower each of these abilities that you've used down to their global, which means you may as well have 2 copies of everything that you see on this build, because that's how often you're going to be able to use it.
But anyway, I say that's what we have for our build this evening. Whatnot, it's as far as overall totals, we'll take a quick look at those. Of our budget, we spent 24,700,000 EC, so 300k left over. Whatnot, it is a bit more pricey as far as our mid-range builds go, but it is very much well worth it in this case. Then, for our total dilithium, you're looking at about 45,000 dilithium in order to get the reputation-based consoles that you're going to need. You're looking at 6 days of total build time, and that's purely due to the dilithium refinement limits, assuming only 1 character is refining maximum dilithium per day. But, anyways, that's what we have for our budget build for the evening. Comments, questions, anybody?
Does it look pretty?
It doesn't do well out.
And
I mean, the
we'll
ship,
go there.
you know, you got all the, parts and whatnot, but does the ship look cool?
Yeah, I guess it can.
Then I got nothing. That's it. That's all my question.
doesn't pilot well out of water.
That's already for you.
So what do you think of it, Ross?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not the one to ask.
No, it's a good solid one.
I've got a nickname for that ship. Basically, I call it a whale because it looks like a whale. Hence the reason why I say it doesn't do very good out of water.
I feel like if you pilot somehow with it, you know, have it do the barrel roll. Space whale. It's just doing free willy over all the other escorts and whatnot.
Leave it to you, Artie.
Hey, I run space whales. Space whales are my jam. If you see a Jupiter, just slide in. It's great.
What about a universe class?
I don't have
barrel
one of
roll?
those, and I plan not to use one.
Not that I've ever done that.
They're
or
hilarious,
anything,
though.
But, oh yeah. Especially trying to squeeze that thing into a breach. It's good Lord, you don't have much room in that subcore room.
You think that's bad? Try taking the Enterprise J in there. Ugh.
That is the universe class.
That's what he's talking about.
Yeah, taking one of those in there. Sheesh.
No, I want.
But,
never mind.
okay.
Oh no, I was thinking, since we're talking about the universe class, now if you put pilot tree to it, I wonder if you'll just shield scrape everything on the map due to how large your ship is.
Oh, jeez.
That's a good question.
I mean, you do notice more shield scraping, I can confirm that, but, you know.
What I want to know is how they
Anyways.
managed to fit 5 of them into the breach in that that video
Very
that
carefully.
Zeph put out.
Very carefully, that's,
Yeah.
what Artie said.
The Voth had permission, gave them permission. No. And then this is how we would get into a PRS after dark, real quick. So we're gonna stop right there.
Yeah. But, anyways, moving along, as far as our bugs corner this evening goes, I don't really have too awful much I'm working on at the moment. If you guys do see bugs, obviously let me know. I'll be sure to pass it along, let these guys know, they'll pass it along too. But one in particular, that a good friend of ours, I don't think he would care for me using his name, J-Dog, had said that he actually noticed his assimilated Cruiser Admiralty card and his Phoenix Admiralty card had gone missing. And he was able to reclaim duplicates, but after that he was no longer able to see the reclaim button anymore. It wasn't even grayed out for him. So if you guys are seeing something like that, please let me know and everything. If there's anything else really crazy going on, do let me know. That way we can pass this along to them. Because the devs don't like bugs and crap like that any more than you or I do. But I don't think you guys had anything.
Nope.
Did you?
Nope.
All my bugs have already been taken care of.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, he took out that big
But
can of raid.
anyways, yeah, that's pretty much what we do.
Yes.
But anyways, moving along, we actually have a double feature this
Yes.
evening for Teacher's Corner. So what have you got for us this
The
week?
first one has to do with Omega again. We just finished the Omega event over here on PC, and so I am reminding you or pointing you to an old video from last year titled, "What do I do with all this Omega stuff?" So if you were like I was, farming your little fingers to the bone, then you have a lot of Omega that you need to figure out what to do with now. So this video shows you what to do, how to do it, where to go when you're doffing, all of that, and so you will then know what to do with all that Omega stuff. So, oldie but goodie, dusted off from last year, it all still applies, nothing's changed. So there you go. And then the second video is actually brand new. It's actually the first of a short series that Admiral Ross asked me to do. This one is called Donating to Fleets. So for all you guys that are new out there, you joined a fleet, and now your fleet leader is saying, "Hey, can you donate?" And you're going, "Huh? What do you mean donate? What do I donate? Where do I go do it? How do I do that? So this video will tell you exactly where to go, and where to find that tab to pull up your fleet stuff. It'll give you an idea of why you should donate, how does this help you out as well as help your fleet, that kind of stuff. So there you go. Comment, question.
I think after this we'll have to find a video to get more dilithium and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
I have that.
Yes. There you go. Want to make it a triple feature?
You know, right?
Oh, good lord.
Next time.
I know,
But
right?
definitely glad to see those. That's some questions I do know some people do have from time to time is how to donate to projects, and if they did farm Omega, what the heck they do with it. So, very glad to see that. But we will have these links in the notes for you guys so you can check out these videos if you've had questions about Omega or if you're curious about donating to fleet projects. But anyways, we are coming up on... And no, actually, dude, that's... no, that's actually Judge Judy's suggestions on my YouTube page and everything, because they have the settings off to the right, and I usually end up in the weird section of YouTube whenever I'm uploading a video, namely the PRS episodes.
Oh, no.
And yeah, that's where that comes from.
Yeah, I get
It's good entertainment value, if nothing else.
a lot of questions I get asked on in my Armada is basically what does our Armada get you? So these videos are going to be quite helpful to us, because not just like how to donate to the projects, but where to go in, like either your starbase, your colony, or your embassy and so forth. You know, where to go and where to pick up and what sort of stuff to pick up. I think that's going to be quite helpful to a lot of the members.
And
As
not,
it's first in series.
oh yeah.
So yeah.
I feel like it would also be very helpful, so you don't have to repeat the same thing 100 times. You'd be like, refer to video, points video.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, as I say, like being a leader of a fleet, I get asked these questions, and being a leader of an active fleet, you know, it's just constantly asking what does an Armada give you and what does a fleet give you. You know, having these videos is just going to be a great help for everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyways, folks, we will have a link in the notes to the videos, like I said a second ago. But anyways, moving along to our final segment of the evening, we have the RP Corner with Artie. What have you got for us this week?
Okay, so a friend of mine decided to catch up with me on roleplay. Was like, so, what's Artie doing? What in the roleplay aspect? Is there anything new? What's going on? And so I was like, you know what? I think it's time to give an Artie update. Adventures of Artie, part. Don't remember what started it is. But no, as of recent, Artie has moved to a new fleet. So I'm going to give you a little synopsis of what's going in that new idea. So let's see if I can get my good trailer narrator voice going. Adventures of Artie, Outpost Zeta. Artie has moved out from the deep space missions out into Zenas Expanse and has been reassigned to Cardassian space, near the front lines versus the Tzenkethi, and now the Herc. Here, our favorite MACO Photonic and the misfit Starfleet and Republic crews of Zulu Squadron have found a 23rd century K-type starbase, nicknamed Outpost Zeta. It's just been free-floating and heavily damaged. On this station, strange creatures and technology has been discovered. All of it is of unknown origin. Is this station going to become a little shop of horrors, or is there something deeper going on? Yeah,
I see.
Left it open-ended because I don't even know, and that's where it's going to get fun.
Cliffhanger.
Yes.
Can we do the bum bum bum?
Yes.
Yeah.
I really need to get that for myself. I really do.
Yes, you do, dude.
But no, this will be a periodic thing as once I start getting any information, maybe everyone else would like to hear what's going on, and Artie may be able to share. So, There you go.
There you go.
Sounds pretty fun. But, anyways, that's our final segment for the evening and whatnot. But, thank you, Admiral Ross, for joining us this evening, good sir.
Thank you very much for having us. So, yeah, I'm really, really grateful to be here, and hopefully I'll be able to attend a lot more of these shows.
Sounds like a plan. Definitely be sure to check these guys out over at the Temporal Armada. They are a very cool bunch of people. Everything, one of our partners. But
Yeah, we
also be sure.
yeah we also just started our KDF side as well, which is the Temporal Ferrison fleet, or the Ferrison Temporal fleet.
Sweet. But, yeah, definitely check them out. You won't be disappointed. Also, a shout out to our other good friends over at the Kurtang Pirate Radio. Definitely check them out. They put on a good show for everybody. You won't be disappointed. But if you've got any requests for budget builds, please be sure to let us know. Let us know, hey, this is what I'm looking to do. I want to be a space wizard, or I want to just, beat the crap out of things as much as I can, or I want to be an indestructible tank, or whatever it is you're looking to do. Let us know the ship you've got. Let us know your budget range. Let us know, hey, I really only have a bare bones budget, or I've got something more mid-range, or maybe you want something more high-end. We'll look you up. If you think your gear and your ship are set up and everything's in order, but you're not really entirely sure that your piloting is all up to snuff, feel free to make a submission to us on our website, get a brief little video clip of it some way to us, and we will see what we can do about going about helping you there. But if you've got any bugs, feel free to let us know and everything. Feel free to drop me a note either on the forums, if you know me on there, and everything, as DarkBladeJK, and I'll be sure to pass that along, or give it to one of these guys. They'll be sure to send it my way, and I'll pass it along to the devs. If you've got any requests for Teacher's Corner, please feel free to let Kirby know. Some of her videos have come by request, as one of them did this evening.
Yes.
But if you're just not sure about a certain subject, let her know, and she'll do a video over it, hopefully explaining things pretty well for you all. But also, if you have any requests for the RP Corner, maybe there's a certain aspect of how to set up your session, or how to approach a certain topic in a session, let Artie know, and he'll go over it with you. But anyways, folks, that's the show we had for this evening. Hopefully you all have enjoyed it and found it at least somewhat informative, and enjoyed our witty banters, or attempts at being witty, I should say. But for now, folks, this is the Pilot Review Show, and we are warping on out of here.
See ya.
Bye.